Hello everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today I would like to share with you all my final thoughts on the Remette Knives WD107. I really wish that they gave this an actual nice cool name. I don't really have any suggestions myself, but I'm sure plenty creative people out there can come up with something cool and fitting for this. This is actually a wonderful knife. I'm gonna tell you guys up front. This is very recommendable. This, of course, is going to be in the budget category, essentially the super budget category. At least on this channel, anything that is 50 bucks or under is going to be super budget. This used to be a premium knife that I checked out almost like a year ago, I think, when Remette, that's the brand of this knife, they made a premium version with M390, beautiful, like super fancy looking bead blast finished blade, titanium and shred carbon fiber, titanium pocket clip. It was a gorgeous looking knife, but there was a huge issue with it that really failed the whole batch. Very, very weak button lock spring. And just the way that everything was shaped in relation to, deployment and getting it back into the handle, it just didn't really make the knife feel like it was actually safe to use. But I did spine whack that, it passed. So did this one. I know some people are kind of annoyed at the whole spine whacking thing, but it's important. Very light taps or whacking it like a chimp on cocaine, either way, if it fails, it fails, right? It's great that this industry is creating new different ways of messing around with the knife, opening and closing, deployment methods for safety reasons or for fidget reasons. Regardless, this is a blend of both. But button locks overall, you get fidget, you get safety. Why? Because you don't ever have to have your fingers cross the path of the blade. You just whip it around and it's great. So that's fun. Lockup on these things are usually pretty darn solid. I haven't really had too many issues, but I almost feel like a lot of people give slack to button locks because they're like, oh, well, it's a button lock. It's supposed to have a little bit up and down, or maybe a little bit of side to side. Like people that, give a break to Omega spring or Axosock style knives. Oh, well, my Benchmade, it's super drop shutty. After a little while it broke in, even though it has phosphor bronze washers. It's loose. It has side to side play. I had a bug out. I had 940, and while they were incredible knives and I loved them and I modified them, like I put a lot of money into them. I enjoy them while I had them, but you know what? To get that crazy smooth drop shutty action that you see all over social media, yeah, there's some side to side. Almost all Omega spring having knives are gonna have a little bit of side to side. There's only been one so far Omega spring knife that has essentially zero side to side, but it's a US production knife that's like $300 something, so not really comparable. But anyway, getting off topic as usual, let's get back to the freaking knife. So got this on Amazon. The price currently at the recording of this video is 50 bucks, but there's a 30% coupon, and that coupon was actually available when I bought this knife. So it may stay, may not. I'll link it down below, of course. There are two different color variations. You have what you see here. This is a kind of slightly polished black wash, possibly. This looks more like a coating. I'm pretty sure this is a coating. I just couldn't really figure out, what it said it was. Maybe I could find out really quick. I don't really trust Amazon too much sometimes when it comes to specs. I have a trust issue with specs on Amazon. Let's see. No. Either I can't read, which is most likely the case, but I can't really find what it says the blade coating is, but it really does look like a coating. Regardless, it's going to hold up to corrosion, and even still, this is 14C28 and very well heat treated. I have tested Remette's 14C. It's excellent. So the black is really just for aesthetic purposes. Again, there is other variation of this where it's black micarta scales and bead blasts, silver blade, silver hardware clip, liners, all that kind of stuff. So with the discount code, it comes down to like 35 bucks. This is a lot of freaking knife for 35 bucks. For how it feels, for how solid it is, it's excellent. It actually is. Now, I don't remember if there was a captured pivot, but we can go ahead and check real quick. I know I don't typically do this because I don't want to take up too much time, but this would just be pretty quick to check. No, it's spinning from both sides. So, no, you do not have a captured pivot. You do have Axis T8 screws on both sides. So you're going to need 2 drivers, unfortunately, to take this apart. You have T6 for everything else, which I'm not a fan of T6. We just need to get rid of it completely. But I will say, from my past experience with Remette and their hardware, their body screws and all that kind of stuff, they're good screws. They are. They're just T6. So I know that's being really bitchy and really nitpicky, but they're T6. So even on the super premium one, which is beautiful, and honestly, I frequently chat with the people at Remette through Instagram, and the guy swore to me up and down that they fixed and kind of revamped the premium one. And I'm very tempted into picking it up again because it's a really good looking knife. But again, the issue with that one was that it had a really weak, essentially a detent or retention because of that spring and the plunge lock and how everything just worked with each other. It wasn't good. This, on the other hand, sorry, ignore that one right there. This, on the other hand, is extremely snappy. And while I have had this for a couple of weeks and I would have thought that this button stick would have gone away, it's very light, it's very minimal. It's not something that really bugs me. I know that, you know, it is important to have the tiniest bit of stick, because that means that there's not a whole lot of wiggle room for the knife to actually fail. So I don't mind it. If it's the trade-off of losing a finger or having a little bit of lock stick on a budget knife, I'll take the little bit of lock stick on a budget knife. So yeah, we're going to talk about the price. Got on Amazon. I will be linking it down below. We can do some size comparisons now. This is the WE Praxis, the RSK Doug Ritter Hogue. So this is it's a medium-sized knife. It's not a big guy. It's not a big guy. It feels great in hand. Something very similar and overall, pretty much on the dot. This is going to be the Vision FG. And we can even use, oh, whoa, jeez. Flick that a little too freaking hard. This is the Remette Rhino. So this is the other budget button lock knife. The way that they do their button lock on this is very different in comparison to how they do it on the WD107. Still, it's a great knife. So a little bit more stumpy, a little bit more compact looking. And the Vision FG is right on the money when it comes to you know, the finger choil space, choke up closer to the blade, and the overall length. Let's do Spyderco's last. So we got a PM2. It is just a little bit shorter than a PM2, not by much. And then the Native 5. So there you go. Hopefully that helps you guys get a good visual representation of what this model is all about. Alrighty, so we're gonna go ahead and just overlook this thing in just a sec. Take the weight. A little scatterbrain per usual. Nothing to complain about there. 3.5, 3.6. Sounds good to me. Now, it could be a little bit lighter, but I don't mind that it is. There's something that I noticed that was kind of weird, but I don't think I've seen this before, and it might be a little difficult to see, but you do have steel liners They are also black coated, and they have holes for weight relief. But they machine the liners to fit over. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. Like, there's you can see in there that the micarta actually comes up essentially flush with the liners, so it's almost as if there is no weight relief. What that, and this is just mere speculation, makes this thing feel incredibly solid for being what seems to be a full micarta knife. Now, micarta, even at this thickness, could have a little bit of flex if it was just straight micarta, but because this has the liners and this is essentially full thickness, this feels pretty freaking solid. It feels great in hand. It really does. So you see in there, it's pretty clean actually. Doesn't have a whole lot of pocket lint, which I'm surprised. This has seen a lot of carry time. I haven't sharpened this. I've just been stropping it. The use within the last couple weeks has been just taken up and just traded in and out by many other knives that I've been picking up, and just other stuff that I want to rotate through my collection that I like using for work. But all right, so we talked about the internal. Here's a pocket clip. If I didn't mention it already, you can flip it to the other side, which is wonderful. It sits on top of the micarta, but you have plenty of room for your pant material, which is awesome. You have a little bit of jimping back here. It's part of the actual steel liners, which is, it's cool. It feels good, and there's a little bit of jimping on the spine of the blade. So honestly, it's very well placed, choked up all the way. This feels awesome. This feels really good for what it is. You do have these nice updated studs, because the studs that were on the premium one, they were these ginormous, flat-faced looking abominations, essentially. These look good, and they function even better. There's a whole lot of surface area. It's nice and grippy to get onto your nail or your finger skin, and reverse flicking it, thumb flicking it is wonderful. It's nice and smooth. You can just, whip it out there just with gravity. Let's check out the side to side, nothing. Up or down, nothing. Some movement in the pivot. I really got to pull on it, but there's a little bit there. So I'm gonna give it that. One thing I noticed, I'm pretty sure it was like this, and I have taken this apart already twice and cleaned it out and tried to mess with it, but it does favor the left side, the right side of the clip side, at least in this configuration. So it's not perfectly centered. I'm not really gonna crap on it for that, but I do have another example of a budget button lock knife that kind of does the same exact thing no matter what I do to it. This, of course, is going to be the Best Techman Good Boy. This is a wonderful, wonderful, slim, full-size budget button lock knife. And, it does the same thing. It is very hard to tell, but it favors the clip side, at least in this current clip position. So it's not by much. I'm not really, gonna have any problems with it. One thing that I do actually have an issue with is the quality of my micarta. Yeah, it's kind of ugly. It doesn't really feel like it's that well finished, especially in the space right here that's cut out. It looks really hairy. It looks really fuzzy. I've done my absolute best to drown this in oil and just rub it back and forth with like a thick cloth to really polish down those fibers. And so far, this is as good as I can get without actually taking abrasive sandpaper to it, which I know would kind of tighten up the grain a little bit and shorten those hairs and just make it a little bit more nicer looking. And what I mean by that is, this is the micarta that they use. So this is very similar, but even this looks a little bit better finished than on this, and I'm not too sure why. Now, I don't have a whole lot of micarta in my collection because it's just not really my thing, but it's cool. I have some pieces, right? This, you may or may not have seen the unboxing already of this. I don't know when the video that you're watching right now is actually going to be released in relation to my unboxing of this, but this is the Artisan Cutlery boa, and I got the, I think this was called the rustic variation, and it has the OD green micarta inlays. Now, this is the type of OD green that a lot of people are used to. This not so much, but you can see in just the grain structure, the quality difference is damn near night and day. This looks beautiful. This looks like shit. This, I know it's going to be a little bit out there and kind of a stretch, but this is a TRM Shadow. This is a $300 something knife, right? Essentially, and this is using OD green micarta, and essentially the same tone, maybe a little bit darker because I recently just oiled this up just to darken it up a little bit, not by much. It was a little bit lighter out of the box. It looked more like the BOA, but this has seen a whole lot more hand and pocket time, so it's worn in a little bit better. Yeah, this does feel a little slick still. But again, this is the micarta that we're used to, not this. And I know that some of the price of this particular knife goes into sourcing the best quality micarta, and their finishing work is going to be completely different than on a $35 knife or a $50 knife, however way you want to look at it. But that's what micarta should look like. Or even this, honestly, I have no issue with how this looks. But just this little space right here, yeah, that looks really fuzzy. It looks kind of, it doesn't look that great. Looking at the knife as is, functionally speaking, it's a wonderful design. The action, the fit and finish, it's not so great with the micarta, but everything else for the price, this is pretty freaking good, and I actually do recommend it. This was a little bit shorter than some of my other reviews, but it's going to be very similar into the premium one that I did a while back. My thoughts haven't really changed too much on the actual use of this knife. It's thin behind the edge, thin blade stock, relatively thin tip, and it's a very simple profile. There's nothing really crazy about actually using the knife, but just taking a second to talk about how it is in this configuration. It gets a thumbs up for me. It's just the micarta, and honestly, like, I could probably refinish that possibly myself, which again, nobody should have to really do refinishing work to a knife that they just bought. But this would be a wonderful gift knife and just a beater knife to anybody who wants a medium size just simple button lock knife that isn't gonna fail on them. So there's that. Well, that's pretty much it. If you guys enjoyed this review, go ahead and leave a like down below. If you are subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate all your patience and your support. Of course, if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing because there's plenty more videos and content coming your guys' way. And with that being said, have a wonderful rest of your day.